What's up guys? This is part 2 of my Maschine Mikro MK3 tutorial. In my first tutorial, I showed you how to set up the micro and create your first simple beat using one of the included kits. Now if you missed that first video, I suggest you go watch that first so that you understand the basics. Now in this video, we're going to add a couple layers to that same beat. I'm going to show you how to create a group, play chords, and even use this chord set feature that I really love. We're also going to add a bass line using the scale feature that makes anything we play sound right. Lastly, I'm going to cover the step sequencer, which is just another way of modifying or creating beats. If you have a question, leave it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to keep up with tutorials on micro and other really cool music gear. So far, we've created a pattern with a drum kit. That drum kit and pattern belongs to a group. I like to think of groups as tracks in traditional recording terms. So let's add another track or group to the beat. I'm going to add some chords using the chord mode. First, press the group button. You'll notice that the first pad is already lit. That's the drum kit I added in the previous video. Press another pad and that will be our group for the chords. Click Sounds in the Maschine software and then the Browse button on the micro. Now you can browse the available sounds. You can also filter the sounds. I'm going to filter by instruments, then strings, and then load the Bogart sound. Press the Browse button to get out of the Browse function, and then next press the Chord button to enter the chord mode. Maschine comes with some cool chord sets to help you come up with inspiring chord progressions, even if you don't know anything about music theory. You'll see in the little screen that our root note is C3. We'll leave that as it is. Press the right arrow button and change the mode to chord set. Now try out the pads. You can now mix these chords however you want into an interesting chord progression. You can try out the other chord sets as well for some more inspiration. To get to the other chord sets, press the right arrow again and choose a different set. We'll stick with major 1. Alright, let's record a set of chords. First, create a new pattern. I'm going to set the pattern length to 8 to give myself some room to record a cool progression before it loops again. Click Pattern again to get out of the pattern mode, and we're ready to record. Hit Shift and record for the count-in. All right, things are coming together. Next, let's add a bass line. Press Group and then one of the unlit pads again. Let's also create a new pattern. Now you can choose a bass sound in the same way that we chose the chord sound, but I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to use a third-party plugin this time. You can add a plugin by clicking the plugin button, then the plus sign, and choosing any one of your plugins. I'm going to choose one of Native Instruments plugins, and I can find them in the Instrument section of the browser. I'm going to look for a massive bass sound. Let's load that. Press Keyboard to get into the keyboard mode. Now you can play the pads like a keyboard. Now since we're playing a bass, the root note of C3 is way too high, so I'm going to turn that down to C1. Much better. Here's a quick cheat. If you're not a keyboardist, you can configure the pads into the scale of your choice. Press the right arrow until you get to Type, and then switch that to Major. Now every note you play will be in the key of C major. Now when you play the pads, it'll only play notes in the scale of your song. You can't go wrong. Let's set our pattern length to 4 and record a bass line. Now you can adjust the volume of the bass line by pressing volume, the group button, and then turning the knob. Alright, bonus tip time. I love using the Maschine Mikro pads to finger drum a beat. But there's another way to create or modify your beats. It's using the step sequencer. Now in pad mode, I know that the hi-hats are here. In step mode, I can see how they're laid out in the beat. Now if I want to add more hi-hats, instead of finger drumming them, I can actually add them on the step sequencer. Let's add them here and see how that changes the beat. Pretty cool, right? That's an easy way to make minor adjustments. You can actually create a beat from scratch using this same method. Let's try the same with the snare. I know the snare is number 2. There's the snare. Let's add a snare there and see what that sounds like. Now you notice that after it finishes this grid, the pads are not lighting up anymore. When I recorded this pattern, I set the length to 2, which means you're seeing the first part. The second part can be viewed by turning the knob. So now it shows 2 of 2. Let's add some snares here. Let's add some more hi-hats. Now if you want to remove what you added in, you can just unlight the pads. Now we're back to our original beat. Don't forget to save your project. All right, the beat is coming together. I'm sure your own style is coming through as you're following these tutorials, and that's the best part. Get your sound out there. Let people hear what you create. Don't forget to keep making the music that you love, and I'll see you guys later.